Could you've known Darius for a really long time, basically his entire life. So is it hard to believe that he's getting ready to play his final home game on Wednesday night?
You know it is, and a bit sad for me. I've known him his entire life, so watching him go through his freshman year all the way to now, seeing his growth in our program has been, it's been special for me to see that because I watch kids go through different things, whether it's on the court, off the court, in the classroom, just watching kids, mature and grow. And so it's kind of fun watching his journey and the man that he's becoming.
It's just kind of refreshing. What is the relationship with you and his dad? You guys grew up together or best friend? Like, what's kind of the relationship that kind of led to you knowing Darius?
All of the above. I've known his dad probably since fourth grade. And we became really good friends, in elementary and middle school, and have been really good friends ever since then. Been one of my best friends, fairly throughout my entire life, basically. So there's a special relationship there, and then have an opportunity to coach his son, made it even more special. And to have a young man like Darius, just like I said, very proud of him. I think it's, of course, his parents have done a great job of raising him as a great young man. He's graduated. He has a bright future, and he's been terrific for us, during this time here.
Coach, talk about in the ever-changing landscape of college sports now with the NIL and the transfer portal. What does it mean to see Darius, probably when he had other opportunities to want to stay loyal, and stick these 4 years out?
I think that'll become more and more uncommon, and just as it has been for him to be here for 4 years. Common will be, guys actually, changing, schools, more frequently because of their ability to do that. So he's unique. He's unique in that regard, and we were fortunate to have him, be able to retain him because in this landscape that changes, and so it says a lot about him because he, of course, and our relationship is so good with he and his dad and I. But he has all those options like all these other kids do too. He had options to do different things, but, he's a very loyal young man. He was committed to us and committed to UCF. And so I'm very proud of him for making that decision.
Then talk about how it allowed him to grow in the system to become basically that was his game. He knew the Johnny Dawkins system, and he's be able to share that to other players as well.
Well, I think it's very important to have guys that I call them, and you've heard this before, culture keepers. He understands my culture. In this day and age where it's more and more challenging because you have so many different, players, coming into programs, on a regular basis, you're fortunate if you have a few guys back that understand exactly what you want. And, he's the only guy back for us this year because Jalen, really couldn't go to that level that's played, a significant role in our team to impact what we do. So having him was important to get that. If you look at the teams that are playing right now in our conference or around the country, most of those teams have a lot of guys returning, so they're able to maintain that culture well enough to have a strong enough culture when new guys come in. They have to fall in line and do it the UCF way or do it the school A's way or whatever. They have to do it that way because you have guys in that program that are going to demand that it's going to be done a certain way, not just from a coach's perspective, but from a player's perspective.
Johnny, when you look at Darius, and if he goes on, if he decides to go to the NBA or wherever it's going to be, what will a team get in this young man when they take a chance on it?
Well, I think you have a player. One, you have a fierce competitor, and and those are things that you look for in trying to build teams. You want somebody that's going to compete for 40 minutes, and he's going to do that. He's going to give you everything he has. So if I'm a professional coach, I want guys that are all about winning, that are going to give me max effort out there on the floor, and he's shown he's going to do that every time out. I think his leadership, the ability to lead teams, the ability to lead the players around him at the point guard position is very, very important. I think he has the ability to do that because of his mindset. He understands, kind of what the coaches want, and he's trying to relay that message to his teammates. I think he's capable of doing that. Of course, shooting the basketball. I think the last several years have been a 40+% three-point shooter in the game now where that's so prevalent to have guys that can knock down the perimeter shot. He's shown the ability in back-to-back years to pretty much be a 40% three-point shooter. So he gives you the ability to space the floor. You can't play off of him because of his ability to knock down shots. And then his ability to make guys better. I think he does a good job of facilitating the basketball. So yeah, I think he provides some really good things for a team, no matter where he goes. I think he's going to help wherever he goes. And last but not least, in a day of age where you take in young people so much, you're looking at potential. You have an experienced guard, experienced 4-year player that's been in the system. He understands what you want to do defensively with your philosophy, what you want to do offensively. And so I think it's very important that you take a look at older players, especially in this day and age professionally, because they're more ready to go out and contribute and compete and play than maybe young guys who still need development on that level when they make that jump. So you get a guy, more of a ready-made player. So those are things that I see, and if I'm in management, those are things that I look at for young people that I'm looking at or considering taking.
Coach, looking at the matchup on Wednesday, you're coming off the loss at TCU. Against this Oklahoma State team, what do you want to see your team improve on or the second time around against Oklahoma State?
Well, it's the first time we played them and studying them. I mean, of course, we turned the ball over way too many times. I think we had 15 turnovers in the first half. And so we have to make sure that we take care of the basketball. It starts there. You can't play any team in this league at this level and you're giving them easy opportunities because of turnovers. So I think turning the ball over is very important. Then I think also we have to make sure we defend without fouling as much. I thought we fouled too much. I think they took like 38 free throws in that game. So I think that combination, were something they were able to, feed off of and get momentum off of. So we have to do a better job of taking care of the basketball, and we have to be more disciplined defending without fouling.
Hi, Coach. Final home game for Darius here. Has he spoken to you about this last game? Does it mean a little bit more to him?
We haven't had an extensive talk about that. We'll have that talk tomorrow because that'll be our last practice before his last home game. So we'll have that talk then, along with the rest of the seniors that we have on the team. But there's an understanding. He's seen other seniors in our program go through this, so it's not like he hadn't observed what happens in this moment. And he and I will share some, a moment tomorrow and kind of to go over it, and talk about just, my observations of him and my observations of our team and just the expectations, going into senior night.
What's the emotion for a head coach in the final home game?
It's tough. I mean, it's your final home game. You want to end it on a really good note, of course. You want to represent your home, home court. And so it's very important that we understand that we make sure we leave it all out there. The only way you can, have a senior night game and to me, and knowing that's your last home game for not even for the seniors, but for the, rest of the players, is to leave it all out there on the floor. You have to leave that game with no regrets that no matter what happened, hopefully it's a win, but no matter what happens, that you leave it all out there on that floor because you don't want to live a life of regrets going back. I wish I had just did a little more. I wish I had, leave it, understand, man, we laid it all out there, and then the chips fall where they may. But, I think our guys, they understand the importance of the game, with it being, senior night and representing our seniors. But they also understand the importance of the game because, we're still battling. We're still fighting. We still have, multiple conference games remaining, and we want to put our best foot forward.
When you look back at Darius's career, is there anything that comes to mind? Is there a particular moment, maybe a part of a game, him speaking up, maybe someone off the court? When you kind of think about the past 4 years, is there one or two things that really stick out to you about Darius's play?
I think, like I said earlier, just he's a fierce competitor. I love that about him. Wouldn't change. He's fiery. He's emotional. But I like that. Want somebody who cares enough, and sometimes they wear their emotions on their sleeve. I'd rather have that than being too laid back. So I love his energy, his passion. I think I want to say maybe because we moved into the Big 12, I think our first game here versus Kansas, where they were making a run and they went up on us, and he came right back and hit I think one of the biggest three balls and I think in school history because it was our first Big 12 win. And he came right back and he responded to their run with a big shot after they took the lead. And I think we were able to maintain the lead, from that shot on. So that moment sticks out. But he's done that, in several other games where he stepped up and made big shots for us and big plays. He just did it a few nights ago, I want to say versus Utah. So, I mean, he's had those moments for us. And like I said, he'll be remembered for those, stepping up and making big plays, during that moment.
And then just to further elaborate on that, just talk about the growth that you've seen from him, from being just growing in the system and now being a full-time starter and a veteran on this team?
No, absolutely. He comes in his freshman year, and he's excited. He's coming in with a heralded player. He wanted the top recruits that I think we had gotten at the time, as far as he's right around a top 100 player. And so for him, coming in, he comes in here, and then you see that there's a lot to learn. As a young player, you realize that, man, as much as I thought I knew, there's a lot I got to learn and figure out. And I applaud him for just taking his time, studying the game, getting with his position coaches, watching extra film. And then, he didn't start off as a starter as a freshman. He started off, coming off the bench, and he ended up earning it. He's worked his way into the lineup and starting lineup. He just didn't get handed the ball when he walked in, which says a lot about him. Here he is, someone I've known all his life, and his father's on our staff, and he's one of my best friends as well. For him to, understand I have to be patient, I have to earn what I get. And, that says a lot about him again. He didn't put his head down, and I thought I'd get the ball when I walked in. He just kept fighting in practice, and he worked his way into the lineup, and he's been in the lineup ever since. And so, again, says a lot about his character and who he is.
Johnny, you guys face an Oklahoma State team that likes to run up and down the court. Obviously, the last time you faced them, they scored over 100 points against you. What do you need to do this time around to maybe slow them down a little bit, to kind of maybe play into your guys' hands defensively?
Well, I think we need to really understand how fast they play. I think game one, as much as we talked about it, I'm not sure if we fully understood just how fast they play. And so we have to keep emphasizing, transition defense, make sure we get back, because they're pushing the basketball at a really high pace. And they have good depth, so they can continue to kind of maintain that pace, throughout the game. So we have to make sure that we're cognizant of understanding the importance of getting back and guarding in the half court.
Coach, you guys are also going to be recognizing Debo and Benny Williams. Can you talk about what it's been like coaching those two players as well?
I've really enjoyed, coaching both of those guys, albeit for just, 9 months, which is where we are now in the state of our game. But I've enjoyed coaching them. Debo has been terrific from the standpoint of, watching him and who he is as a player, because I'm learning about him. We have done our homework and scouting them before we took him here. But, he's been as advertised. He's been very, very solid as a young person on and off the court. He's a hard worker. He wants to win. He competes. And so I've enjoyed that about him. On and off the court, he's been, I think, a really good role model in our community. The young man, really does a good job academically. He takes the academics serious. He wants to do well in everything he does. And so those are things that says a lot about, him and how he was raised and, the standards that he has for himself. So I've really enjoyed, getting to know him. Just a really good young man. And then Benny, Williams, the same thing. Benny has been, a joy to coach. He's been a little more banged up, a little more injuries, so he's been in and out. And that's been challenging. But like I said, I learned a lot more about young people, like I said, when you go through things like that than when everything is going well. I've always said that to you guys. And so with his, going through adversity, I'm learning a lot about him. You can only go by what, you've heard in the past about a young person, doing your homework and when you're recruiting them. But I tell you what, he's been fun to coach. He's been a really good young man with his teammates. He's been, really good with us. And like I say, he's battled through some injuries and, he's had up and down season with regards to that. But he can't control those things. So what I want to see is how do you respond to those situations as a young person, because there are going to be other challenges in your life, far beyond playing here. And I want to make sure you're prepared to make that transition and be successful when things aren't going your way, in life, not just in basketball.
Johnny, I got to ask, you've got 2 more games left, regular season games left. Jalen Sellers might have been a chance to walk, I guess, on senior night. But what is his status? Have you guys even thought about now his future, maybe having him get a red shirt for a medical? Is there anything you could talk about that with us?
Still day to day. He's still day to day. But, it's getting late in the season. But it's still day to day, and now the young man wants to get out there and compete, of course. But he's not really cleared to be able to do that at that level. So that's kind of where we are. I wish I had more for you, but he's like I said, I think he's continually getting better, which is a good thing. You see some improvement in what's going on. I think everyone's excited about that, but that's kind of where we are.
And Jordan Ivy Curry, he's been kind of banged up a little bit too as well. What's his kind of status going into this game?
I think he'll be available. As of right now, he'll be available. But he's been banged up, and it's the nature of the season. You have 20 league games, starting after the new year, and so there's no real bye week. There's no time to get really healthy in some of these situations because you're just going from one scout to the next preparing for the next game. And so when you have like situations where some of the guys have been a little dinged up, a little banged up, it's a little more challenging because you don't have a week or two in there where you have a bye week here, a bye week there. Even the All-Star break in the NBA, you get a break where you can kind of, regroup a little bit. And so that's kind of where we are. So we have to manage these things that are going on now. I'm sure we're not the only team going through it because this league is so physical and, like I said, it's so relentless now because there's no downtime with regards to games. You're going one to another in preparation. So it's just something that we all have to kind of get through and learn how to, manage it, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, Coach. Coming up on the end of his first season here, can you tell us some things that you've observed about Mustafa, how he's developed just as a player and as a person?
Well, it's been really fun watching him develop. As I said before, just watching him from the summer and just his work ethic and seeing how diligent he was about, getting his body right and learning our system. I thought he put on like maybe 20 pounds during the summer, which is incredible. But that's because of his work ethic, his diet, he was eating properly, and then learning our system. And then you turn that to the preseason where he's playing games in the preseason. And you can see the game is just moving really fast. He's trying to figure it out. He's a reclassed, senior now, is a freshman in college at this level. But you saw him just continually, getting better from that. As you saw him around the new year, second week or so, third week of January, you started to see the game slow down for him. And he started to really take advantage of his opportunities on the floor, both defensively and offensively. The game slowed down for him, and then that leads us to where he is now. I mean, if you look at the back-to-back games I think he said double-doubles the last two games. So it just shows, again, he's just continually getting better as he gets more and more comfortable with our system and comfortable with the speed and physicality of the game.
Coach, just to end it off, talk about the pride that you want to see your guys play with for this final home game, not only for themselves to get the win, but to send the seniors out who have put out a lot of effort for this team like Darius to send them home with a win.
There's nothing more important to me on senior night than understanding the value of our seniors in our program. And as you just mentioned, and the pride in making sure that we want to give them the proper send-off by how we go out there and compete for our brothers. So it's going to be very important for all of our guys to understand, hey, one day that's going to be you. And so as a senior, and so you want to make sure you represent those guys as best you can. You want to make sure you leave it all out there for those guys because those guys have done a great job as far as, what they could do with leading our guys, encouraging our guys, being really good teammates and showing them what it's like to be a good teammate at this level. And so I think we all owe them, a sense of gratitude. We all owe them, our best effort, stepping forward the right way because these guys have represented the university. I mean, how well has Darius represented the university? Heck with the basketball piece. I mean, how well has he represented the university in general? And that's what I look at, how well guys represent the university, represent our community. And I'm proud of these guys. I mean, these guys have represented it very well. I'm just speaking of him now because he's the senior that's been with us the longest. And that's what you want to see. I think everyone should be proud of how he's carried himself in our community and competing for UCF. Thank you, Coach. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay, guys. All right.
Darius, you've been connected to this UCF program for an incredibly long time. You committed early in your high school career. You've known Coach Dawkins your entire life. Came here to play for him 4 years at the same school. You've graduated from UCF. Has it hit you yet that you're about to play your final home game in a UCF uniform?
I think it actually hit me a few days ago. I think I forget the comment they made, but somebody had mentioned the comment, and I was just like, wow, it's like I got three or four games left in my college career. Hopefully we can make it work, and it lasts a little bit longer, but it is winding down. It's coming to an end. It's been a great run here. Super excited decision I made to come play for Coach Dawkins and the staff, and I think I would have had this career anywhere else. So, I'm proud to be a UCF Knight alum. I'm proud to play under Coach Dawkins, one of many. I had a great opportunity here to come in right away, play a lot of minutes, and be able to learn each and every year, play through my mistakes, and continue to grow my game, offensively, defensively, and become a better young man. So.
DJ, you've been known as the basketball guy for ever here at UCF. Now, talk about your legacy, what legacy means to you, and what you want to leave here.
Legacy means a lot to me. I feel like personally, I feel like I've left my mark here, whether it's UCF accolades or in the record books for certain statistics. But I still didn't want to leave the legacy that I always dreamed about. Coming in and hanging up banners, winning championships and stuff like that. It's hard to do that. Especially at the level that we're playing at. You got to go out and compete at a high level. Every night. There's very little room for error. We still have a chance to do that this year. I still believe in the staff and in our teammates. With everything we still in front of us. I believe in anything can happen. I'm big on faith, and I believe in God. So I know that He wouldn't put me through all I've been through, all the sacrifices and all the hard work just for me to fall short. So.
Darius, what is your first memory of playing here? What's something that stood out that first season that you can remember? Maybe that whether it was just the newness of it all, whether it was just kind of adjusting to the college game. What kind of stood out to you about that your first year?
I just had the chance to grow. I had a lot of older guys here. They helped me along the way. Being a freshman, a guy coming in playing, averaging probably about 20 minutes a game, it's very rare. You don't really see that too often. I was a dime a dozen, a kid who stuck it out. But I would probably say just, the first game, being here, letting my mom see me play again, my dad, my grandfather being able to come to some of my games. So that was probably the biggest thing for me is, being home.
Darius, you talked about how, that was your first year. Now that you've kind of made it all the way here, what's your proudest moment or one of your favorite moments from being a Knight?
I would honestly say just, being loyal, just sticking it out. I was a kid who wasn't really highly ranked coming out of high school or anything like that, but, I could have transferred and went somewhere else for, other reasons, but, I believe in the staff here. I believe in Coach Dawkins and, everything he's done for me, from the day he started recruiting me all the way up until now. He gave me an opportunity right away to come here and play, a chance to prove myself against older guys. And, he's continued to coach me through my mistakes. He's helped me on the court, but also off the court, becoming a better young man. He wants to see every kid that comes through this program not only be, a great teammate, a great young man, but someone who's going to be a father in the future, a husband in the future, and stuff like that.
How did you? You've considered a big leader on the team. Can you tell us something about maybe something you've been able to pass down to some of the younger guys on the team? Not even just guards, but just players you played with.
Just try to guide them through their mistakes, because, everyone's imperfect. I made those same mistakes that they're making now. So, just try to coach them through it to kind of guide them through it so they're not making the same mistake over and over and they're able to grow through it. I didn't really have a point guard my freshman year to someone who could kind of take me under the wing and guide me each and every day. I kind of had to figure it out a little bit on my own. So, just that whole process of figuring out, just try to do the same thing to the young guys. I enjoy the process of, being able to serve them, being able to help them in any way, shape, or form that I can, give them guidance, whether we're in certain situations of the game or, certain sock selection, stuff like that, little defensive tricks, offensive tricks, stuff like that. So, just try to help them to make the game easier for them.
Oh, yeah. We were just asking Coach Dawkins what his favorite or what playing memories stand out to him about you. What about you? When you go back and you think about the 4 years you've been here, are there any particular games or individual moments in a game that you'll often think about?
I'll probably say the first one. The first one always sticks out to me. I didn't really do much, but it's just I think the first play I got in the game, I got a steal to a layup. So it's like, being able to make an impact, kind of right away. But I would probably say for me was my sophomore year coming off an MCL injury against Miami here. Although we fell short, I feel like I kind of see my start developing. I would probably say my favorite game was my freshman year with ECU. We played ECU. We were down 20 at half, and just the adversity we fought through as a team, to come back and win that game in overtime.
What about that Kansas game? That's what Coach Dawkins brought up. They had come back, and you hit a three. Like, what do you remember about that game? How do you remember that?
Kansas was a great game. For a second, it looked like we weren't going to be able to hang in there long. They got to an early run or a late run in the first half. But the guys, we stuck together. Coach Dawkins, they came up with a great game plan to go out in the second half. throw a little bit of mixed defenses at them, which actually bothered them a lot. We were able to capitalize off it on the offensive end. Playing a blue blood school, no one really expects you to go in there and win. Our first Big 12 home game, and it's against Kansas. Our blue blood, one of the high-ranking schools all time in college basketball history. So being able to pull out that win, have the crowd storm the court is a great experience.
How will you approach the emotion of Wednesday, the celebration, and then quickly switch into game mode? You're a competitor, so I'm sure a win's going to be forefront of your mind.
Win is definitely going to be the forefront of my mind. I want to be able to play my best game, in front of Night Nation one last time. It's definitely going to be sad. The time flies. I remember walking in the freshman year, going through summer workouts, and now it seems like it's all over in the blink of an eye. So it's like, I got to really look back, get a chance to cherish those moments with the teammates that I've had, be able to go out and compete. That'll just, put the cherry right on top to go out and get a win with my teammates.
Darius, Johnny mentioned this. We was asked about this, about how you'd handle the emotion of Wednesday night. But he said he's seen a lot of seniors go through this before. What can you remember about what some other players that you've seen go through this, and what did you learn maybe going into your Wednesday night?
Well, it's people are different. Everyone has different emotions and stuff like that. People handle things differently. But the thing is, I think you got to be excited. It's a very sad moment. Going out and realizing this is your last game. The season's winding down. You're not gonna really put the jersey on many times after, but you kind of got to just cherish it, embrace it. Don't get too emotional, don't get caught up in it. You're not gonna wear the jersey anymore, but just how do you want to leave your legacy? Like you said, you want to leave your mark. It's gonna be the last time I play in additional finance. Anytime I come back in the future, I want to be able to. Last time I played here, I won. I don't want to be able to come back like, dang, I wish I could have did this. I wish I could have did that. You just got to go out there and leave it all on the court.
Will you say something to the team beforehand?
I feel like what's understood doesn't have to be said. I'm a senior. I've been here 4 years, so I would hope that everyone brings their A game. It's not always about you. It's about the guy next to you. My parents always tell me, if it was about you, God would have put you down here by yourself. So I just try to remember that as each day goes forward. Serve others. But yeah, I'll probably give a little speech to the guys. Get them amped up some more. I believe in my teammates. I believe in my brothers alongside of me. So I know they're going to come out and compete at the highest level.
Talking about bringing the A game and giving a speech, talk about the pride going into this last game. All the memories here at UCF, you want to leave it on the court one last time, and you want your brothers to leave it on the court with you.
It's super big, with the transfer portal, you never know who's going to come back here and stuff like that. But, you always want to leave things better than what you found it. So, Coach Dawkins has told us that since I've been a freshman here. So, I want to leave the program better than, when it was when I first got here as a freshman. So, last year we lost for senior night, so I want to be able to, come back and win this year. I know it really hurt those guys not being able to pull out that win last year, at UCF at additional finance. But, this year, I want to be sure that we get the dub because I know how that feeling can look.
And then you talked about loyalty and sacrifice. Talk about what it meant to stay here at UCF, even through some of the harder seasons that you were, but you decided to stay.
Coach Dawkins and the staff, they've been great. They've allowed me to play through all my mistakes. And I don't know if I'd be able to do that at any other university. It's a lot. Coach Dawkins gives out a lot of freedom. As you can see, you can look at my stats. And just if you watch me play through my freshman year to now, you've seen the growth. Whether it's been a leader or whether it's been how I'm playing. I just feel like I've been able to grow my game here. Coach Dawkins has allowed me to do that. He's put the ball in my hands. He's trusted me. So, it's been great. I know for a fact I wouldn't want to play under any coach other than Coach Dawkins.
This was obviously a lot of high expectations going into this season. I know there's reasons that maybe things haven't worked out the way you thought. Obviously, Jalen hasn't been available all season. You guys were on the bubble, entering February, had the losing streak. But how motivated or what's the mindset of the team right now to finish strong and try to make a final run here, whatever that means, whether it's, winning a few games at Kansas City here next week? Just kind of what is the mindset of this team right now to try to finish the right way?
Just keep focusing on going 1-0. Making sure we, take care of the game that's in front of us. Don't look too far ahead and, don't look back. I feel that the past 3 games we've learned a lot. Really the back end of the season we learned a lot. we hit through some adversity. We were able to bounce back. I'm not sure how many teams will be able to, to bounce back from a 7-game losing streak. But we still found happiness in each other. We still found us being together. That's the biggest thing when you're going through a losing streak like that. It's just making sure we stay together. You don't want to have guys pointing fingers or trying to blame the staff. So just me as a leader, just making sure everyone stay together. But I'm a firm believer of it isn't over until it's over. So I think it's March. You guys know how March is. Anything can happen. I believe that we still have a chance. I still think that we can do something special here at UCF. Like I said, it isn't over till it's over, till the last horn goes off.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks for everything, Darius.